Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Srimad Bhagavatam. Commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilanand. So in today's satsang, we will discuss the final confrontation with Kans. Seeing his most powerful wrestlers destroyed, Kans commanded the trumpets to stop beating and shouted at his attendants to go after those boys, Krishna and Balarama, and drive them out of his kingdom. He told them to snatch all the wealth of those cowherd boys, to imprison Nanda, and to kill Vasudeva. While Kamsa was shouting in that state of frenzy caused by fear, Krishna sprang from the ground to the high dais. Seeing Krishna approach, Kamsa got up from the throne with a shield and a sword in his hand, ready to fight. However, Krishna swiftly caught hold of Kans and threw him down from that great height to the floor below. Krishna then jumped down and, standing triumphantly over Kans, killed that demon king and dragged him across the arena before the stunned audience. At the time of death, before the eyes of the amazed onlookers, the spirit of Kans, who had thought of little else other than killing Krishna for so many years, left his body and became one with Krishna. After the death of Kans, as well as of his 8 younger brothers, who rushed to revenge upon Krishna for their brother's death, all the gods in heaven rejoiced and showered flowers upon Krishna and Balaram. Mystical meaning: in the arena, we see enacted the drama of the final destruction of ignorance or avidya. Ignorance has been towering over the spirit, overpowering it, keeping it in a state of bondage. But when the spirit at last rises to a great height and all the obstacles have been destroyed, the power of that spirit topples down ignorance and along with it the entire world of matter, never to rise again. That is enlightenment. So this is the experience of Kans being the ego and the process of destroying the ego before we get enlightened. At the time of death, the spirit of Kans attained union with Krishna. It often seems amazing to students of scriptures that the most terrible demons attain union when they are destroyed by divine incarnations. Yet the fact was that Kans, like other demons in the scriptures, had sustained one-pointed concentration on Krishna, even though this was due to dvesh or extreme animosity. These examples of demons attaining liberation by constantly thinking of God are provided to encourage us to think of God. If even animosity towards Krishna can give us these highest results, how much more joyous it would be if we accomplish the same goal through pure love and devotion, through bhakti. Another important point to understand is that any demoniac development in a personality is like an electric short circuit. When electricity travels through many wires, sometimes there is a short circuit, an interruption in the flow of electrical energy. Demoniac qualities like hatred, pride, egoism are like a short circuit of divine energy within us. The moment that short circuit is corrected by divine grace, the energy flows as it was intended to flow. After the death of Kans, his 8 younger brothers rushed to fight against Krishna and Balaram. These 8 brothers represent the 8 fetters that bind the individual soul. These 8 fetters are hatred, shyness, in this case shyness means cowardliness, fear, doubt, speaking about the faults of others, pride of family, pride of culture, and pride of caste. So these things continue to bind us. When the soul is freed from these 8 fetters, it attains its true spiritual potential and becomes one with the divine self. So let's move on. After this major event of destroying Kansa, Ugrasen enthroned as king again. After slaying the terrible demon Kans, Krishna and Balram released Ugrasen, Kansa's father, from his fetters and enthroned them once again as king of the Yadavas, the relatives of Krishna. As one of his most vile demoniac deeds, Kans had taken the kingdom away from his father and imprisoned his own father, causing the Yadavas to live in fear and go on hiding. Enthroning Ugrasen again paved the way for the re-establishment of greater harmony within the kingdom. Next, Krishna and Balaram reunite with their real parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. So they are the biological kids of Vasudeva and Devaki, but they were born and grown up under Nand and Yashoda and Rohini. So let's move on. After the freeing of Ugrasen, Krishna and Balram went to meet their real parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, who had been released from prison and were exceedingly delighted to be reunited with them. Imagine the joy of the parents after seeing their children after so many years. Then Krishna spoke with Nand, his foster father, who was still in Mathura, along with the other cowherd men and boys, and lovingly requested that they all return to their homes in Vrij. After hearing subtle words of explanation about Krishna's divine plan, Nanda was somewhat consoled about being separated from his beloved Krishna and instructed all the cowherd people to return with him to their village. After being reunited with their real parents and in accordance with the Vedic tradition, Krishna and Balaram received the sacrament of the sacred thread from the family priest. They were then sent to study in the royal school or Gurukul of sage Sandipani, who gave them practical as well as spiritual teachings. The next episode is Krishna reunites sage Sandipani with his son. When it was time for them to leave the Gurukul, they asked Sandipani Muni what fee would be given to them. The Guru, who was well aware of the majesty of Krishna, made the special request that Krishna bring back to him his son who had drowned when he was just a boy. And the sage did it because his wife was too attached to her son, who at a very young age had drowned. And Krishna and Balarama received all the 64 different arts and knowledge in only 2 or 3 months' time, whereas it would take years for other people to get that education. Because they were enlightened souls and they were doing their Leela, they very quickly were able to finish these all the knowledge that the Guru had to impart. So it's a tradition, it's called Guru Dakshina. Dakshina means to offer to Guru what you have as an offering of the fees, but it is voluntary, and generally the tradition goes whatever the Guru asks, because they were not only money centric. The teachers consider this knowledge as sacred, and therefore dakshina meaning whatever has to be given to as a sign of respect. So in this case, the Guru knew that Krishna is divine incarnation himself, so therefore he did not hesitate in asking for his lost son, who they were thinking he was drowned. Accordingly, Krishna and Balram went to the place where the Guru's son had drowned and invoked the presence of the ocean god. In response, the ocean god said, "O Krishna, in my waters lives a demon named Panchjana, who assumes the form of a mighty conch. He is the one who carried away the son of your Guru. Hearing this, Krishna entered into the ocean and destroyed Panchajana. Although unable to find the Guru's son within the body of that demon, Krishna took the conch-shaped skeleton with him, and that conch became the famous Panchajanya, the favorite conch of Krishna. You will remember he played that conch in Mahabharata war before the war would begin. So with this we conclude our satsang for today, and I will see you in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilanand. Hari Om Tat Sat.